up, everybody? How's everybody doing today? Ooh, gotta get my light on. Much brighter. It's a good day, good evening. Gonna give it a few minutes before we get started. Today is really an exciting one. So I put out a promo video yesterday about this topic today, and boy, did I get a lot of feedback from IG and a whole bunch of different places. So I'm excited about this. Anyways, like to get normally started 30 minutes after. So I'm gonna get started. So hi and welcome. And this is my 14th episode. My name is Cecil Williams. Welcome to the See Me Fly Live, the entrepreneur's journey. I am your host, Cecil Williams. Anyway, today's episode is brought to you by See Me Fly Money, a platform I built to help empower our community for financial literacy and to live better financial lives. So check it out on seemefly.medium.com, seemefly, CIMIFLY.medium.com. Anyway, so today's topic is get rich quick schemes, how to get rich quick. Now, for everyone thinking, I mean, let me bring context to it. So I made a video yesterday to promote this live today, and the title was "How to Get Rich Quick." I got over 4,000 views for that, and a bunch of people like saved it. And I'm guessing a bunch of people listened to it because of the hook. At the end of the day, everybody I think wants to figure out how to get rich quick. So I'm going to get started, and we're going to talk about this a little bit. So first, I'm going to start by defining what a get-rich-quick scheme is so we understand what we're going to be talking about. A get-rich-quick scheme is used to describe a shady investment with unrealistic rates of return. Whoever is involved in it, maybe the mastermind, creates an impression that users can obtain a high rate of return with little skill, effort, or time, and minimal risk. So that's the key to a get-rich-quick scheme to work. And that is more than likely why most people want to be a part of it, because it's perceived to involve little skill, effort, and time. And obviously, the pitches they sell you that you're not risking a lot. So now, as I was doing research for this particular topic, I found out that one of the first recorded get rich quick schemes happened in 1882 by a Scottish adventurer, and his name is Gregory McGregor. I mean, think of it, Gregory McGregor. And Gregory McGregor basically, I guess, traveled from, I believe, Central America to the United Kingdom. And when he got there, obviously, whatever he discovered, think of back then, people had traveled through ships, they couldn't really figure things out and all that good stuff. And when he arrived in London, he saw this land, and essentially he sent message back to the United States that he had discovered this place called Poyas. What's up, Antiflow? What's up, Yaz? And he started selling people on this idea that they could buy into this place called Poyas. It's this island or this country, and it was an opportunity of a lifetime. And he was able to raise in 1882 £200,000, which in today's money is the equivalent of about $3.6 billion. But guess what? There was no place called Poyas. It was a creation it was something he created. It was a figment of his imagination. So that was one of the first. And as I mentioned also yesterday, one of the easiest and most legit get rich quick schemes is the lottery. The lottery everywhere in the world. I mean, in the United States, think about it. There's these mega millions that people play, $20, $30. People pull money in office pools and all these things, and and the money just keeps going up. And then every day you see 290 million, 300 million. And essentially, nobody wins sometimes. And there's a statistic that says that there's a highly likely possibility of being struck by lightning than winning the lottery. Think about this. Which one of you guys have ever? I don't think anybody I know has ever been struck by lightning. So the chances of you being that person winning the mega millions, probably not happening. Get rich quick scheme. So this is what all these things have in common. And I will go to something that I also mentioned wherein I'll talk about this now. So like I said, 7 years ago, a few friends and I got into a real estate investment. And it started off good. But at the end of the day, we were putting in money and we would get these returns every quarter. And it started off fine. We would get these returns, and the goal is you put in more money. So the first time it happened, it's like, okay, hey, you put in, let's say, $3,000. At the end of 3 months, you get 4,500, and it's like, give me my $4,500 back. You get your money, and like, okay, this is real. Put it back in. And this guy lived in somewhere in California. His name is Todd Tatum, and I'm going to mention him because I think he is a criminal. And essentially, he was getting these monies from a bunch of different people, and he claimed to be investing in real estate, whether it was housing and things of that sort. And we got suckered into what I call a Ponzi scheme, because when we eventually went to a lawyer to kind of figure out the legal aspect of things, he said straight up, he said, I think you guys are in a Ponzi scheme, and I feel bad for you guys, and you guys might probably never get your money back. And and essentially, so my son's outside, and I'm not sure why my wife is not getting him away from the door. But so it's essentially it's. I mean, today I'm telling stories, but I'm going to get to the to the meat and bones of this whole thing. And it got so bad that long and short of it, we lost our money, and I've never seen this guy ever again. He did go to jail, and essentially he went to jail because he had been doing this to so many people and he wasn't building anything. So what he ended up doing when he got in the back, initially he started building, but eventually he started taking money. Basically, the Bernie Madoff scheme: take money from people and give it to others, take money from people and give it to others. And eventually he ran out of doing money. But so it was a get rich scheme. It was a Ponzi scheme, but on top of that, it is a get rich scheme for both sides, because at the end of the day, for him, he was getting all these money from people, whether he was keeping some for himself and paying the interest to others, fine. But for us, this is what it involved: little skill. We didn't have to all we had to do was put our money in. Little skill, little effort, little time, and essentially what was supposed minimal risk, but turned into a huge risk. And collectively, I think it was three of us, we lost about $150,000. Now, that was an eye-opening experience. So today, I'm going to talk about how you can identify and pinpoint what Ponzi schemes are, or get rich quick schemes, because I don't think it's just Ponzi schemes. I think the grand scheme is a get rich quick scheme, because everybody's looking for ways to get rich. And what we can do in order to make sure, if we still want to get rich, there's ways to go about it and things that we can do to ensure that we do get rich. So normally I like to start off by reading some quotes, and then we'll get into some talking points and stuff like that. So first is, it says, get rich quick thinking leads to three basic errors. Getting involved with things you cannot understand. If you go back to the real estate scheme that I told you we got into, we didn't understand what we were getting into. We were young, and they said, hey, give me this money, you'll make this return. And we got into it, and that was that. Risking funds you cannot afford to lose. That is borrowed funds. Now, for us, yes, some of it could have been borrowed from a bank. Most of it was hard-earned money that we cannot afford to lose. And then making hasty decisions. If you win the first time, that's the click and bait, and you get back in there. And each of these actions violates one or more of the biblical principles. Together, they constitute a sin called greed. Larry Birkin. And I think this is why most people get into get rich quick schemes. The idea of greed. People want to be greedy. People want to make quick money. Everybody wants to make quick money. And I'll get to this at the end, where I do believe there's ways to make quick money. I normally say, well, yes, one, playing the lottery and winning the lottery is a get rich quick scheme. A lot of it is illegal. If you think 419 schemes, the person on the other end of it is getting rich very quickly. And the person on the receiving end of normally these scams wants to get rich quick, and because they tell you, hey, give me this and I'll give you that, or whatever the case might be. Sometimes it's not that, it's just you giving something, but it's because you have some form of greed in you, or because you see a bigger picture that leads down this path to greed, and you want to participate, and you end up going down the wrong path. So keep that in mind. Next is, the man who starts out simply with the idea of getting rich won't succeed. You must have a larger ambition. John D. Rockefeller. Rockefeller is one of the maybe three richest men to ever live in the United States around the 1900s, and even, well, I guess today's money or whatever the case might be. And most people can say, I mean, if you think of his legacy, and I was recently listening to a podcast about Rockefeller, at the end of the day, I do think when it came to business, he was a ruthless businessman. But at the end of the day, he gave away a lot of his fortune because he wanted passage into heaven. And that's what the stories say about him. But you can read about him. But I think he's right about what he says. If you start a business or are looking to build a brand with simply the idea that you want to make money, you will not succeed. It's not that you won't make money. Think about this. I always say, for people who sell drugs, it's quick money. It's a get rich quick scheme, but there's consequences. You either go to jail, and at worst you get shot, die, or whatever the case might be. So it's not that you would make money, but there is no longevity in it. And if you take, I mean, it's well documented that that's what Jay-Z did to get things started. But he realized at a very early age, or very early on in his career, that this is not a sustainable way to make money. So therefore, he said to himself, I got to get out of this. I got to take the little money I made. I got to get out of this. And he built Rockefeller Records, and has gone on to build one of the biggest brands of our generation from a hip hop standpoint, but now into just a global brand. And he's built staying power because I think he then realized purpose. He then realized maybe he started with an idea of getting rich. It could have been for survival, whatever the reason. Maybe it's personal, but over time, he realized he had a skill set. He could rap. He realized he could make music. He realized he built a skill set as a shrewd businessman, and he developed those skills in order to be able to serve his community, and in turn succeeded because he had a larger ambition, and as a result of that ambition, today he is a billionaire. Now, the last one is a company that we all aspire to be, and this comes from Walt Disney. He said, when we opened Disneyland, a lot of people got the impression that it was a get rich quick thing, because I mean, think of these huge parks and people are trying to figure out like what's going on, but they didn't realize that behind Disneyland was a great organization that I built here at the studio, and they all got into it, and we were doing it because we love to do it. Now, this relates to what he was saying, what Rockefeller was saying about ambition. If you're going to want to build something, I think you have to love what you do. You have to have a passion for it. But most importantly, I think it has to serve a greater purpose. It has to serve more people than just you, ultimately, because I think most people do things because they want quick money and they realize they won't succeed. But if you think about Walt Disney, and if you read the book or listened to anything about Walt Disney story, like, yes, he was a maniac about wanting to build something bigger than what? Ambition. And he did build it, and it's, as most people say, the happiest place in the world. So if you go to Disney World, Disneyland, and all these different franchises that Disney has built, the movies they make, I mean, it makes us feel happy. That's the goal. That's the goal and the mission that it accomplished, and as a result, succeeded and made him and his family 10 times over in terms of being rich. So now, like I said, I think for most people, the reality is there is nothing like a get rich quick scheme. It doesn't work. I mean, I hate to bust the bubble, but it doesn't really work, because at the end of the day, I do feel like if you want to create something, you have to live for something larger than yourself when creating a brand. You have to be able to think of something sustainable. You have to solve someone's business. You have to solve someone's problem. I think these are the businesses that succeed. If you think of the likes of, I mean, even if you think of Apple, I mean, it solved certain problems. People could say it's a luxury, but think about what phones were back in the day and what Apple created in the iPod in terms of revolutionizing the music industry, in terms of, or even if you think Spotify from streaming and what they're doing, these companies are solving problems. Or if you think Uber, if you think Airbnb, they have totally revolutionized the way we stay in hotels. What's up, Lisa? How you doing, brother? They've totally revolutionized the way we stay in hotels. I mean, think back in the day, if you wanted to go to New York City, which is an expensive city, everybody was thinking, oh my God, I got to go to New York City. I don't have $400 to spend on a hotel. I don't know anybody in New York City. Here comes Airbnb. Now you could go for $100, rent somebody's room. And anywhere in the world, we're doing this. I mean, we've been to Mexico and stayed in Airbnbs. We've been to Colombia and stayed in Airbnbs. I mean, they have literally changed things up. Or if you think about Uber, people can now, use Uber. If you don't have a car, you can use Uber to get around. You don't need to go to yellow cab taxis or call taxi companies, or even on the other side, as an entrepreneur, you could literally use Uber to make money. So there's a receiving end on both sides. There's a giving end and a receiving end. And because these people are solving a problem, I believe that they have something sustainable. So if you're ever thinking of what to do, think of something bigger than yourself that solves a problem, that solves someone's problems. So going back to get rich quick schemes, another thing about get rich quick schemes is like, it's like pump and dump. And this is for a lot of people who are wanting to invest in the stock market, because it's like the hottest new thing. Everybody's talking about it. Years ago also, and this is how I got into learning how to trade stocks. I don't think it was more of a scheme. We learned, but as a result of that, I learned about these pump and dump. So if you take penny stocks, they're pennies on the dollar. Like they're literally like 0.0006 pennies or whatever for a particular company. And someone creates this scheme where he says, okay, I'm going to sell these pens on this. I'm going to take this company public. I'm going to sell these pens, but I know this pen is shitty. But at the end of the day, if I get 1,000 people to believe that this pen is a good pen, then a bunch of people are just going to buy this pen, and I'm going to create my community. They buy this pen. While they're buying this pen and throwing their money into it, it's pushing the value of the pen up, and I'm just going to dump that stock. And essentially, I'm going to take all my money out while they're pumping money into it. And by the time they realize this pen is worth nothing, everything's dumped and they're left holding the bag, as people would say, and lose. So it's an interesting thing, but I think there's ways, first of all, to prevent yourselves from get rich quick schemes. I think the first thing is, don't open these weird emails. If you get an email from someone you don't know asking you for something or giving you an opportunity that's too good to be true, it is a get rich quick scheme. Delete it. Get rid of it. If you have your friends coming up to you, telling you about opportunities that you have no understanding of, they sound too good to be true. What's up, Marcus? How you doing, brother? They sound too good to be true. It is probably, especially one of these multi-level marketing schemes. And I'm not saying these things don't work, but they do take a whole lot of skill. So remember what I said earlier when I said, if you want to get rich, you need a skill, you need effort, and so these are things, and you need time. So if someone comes and sells you this idea of a multi-level marketing scheme, just go talk to these people and whatever. Basically what's happening, every time you get someone and they move up the food chain, and by the time you can get to a certain point, they keep moving up the food chain and they keep making money. They're getting rich because they created the scheme, and you just keep trying to get people in just so you could make money. It's not working. So anytime somebody comes and sells you some multi-level marketing scheme, tell them no. And I'm not saying if it's your personality and you're a salesperson and it's natural to you, by all means, do what you got to do. But I'm talking to everybody else out there who is looking for a way to make more money. And from that way of making more money, they have these dreams and aspirations that they're going to get rich from these things. These are the things like emails, multi-level marketing. If you know it's not your personality, and if you know you cannot handle what comes with how you get rich in these schemes, stay away from it. Now, I mentioned something earlier. If you are determined that you are somebody who wants to get rich, I think there's a way to go about it. And I mentioned it earlier when I said what I've learned, and when I was in college, I used to hear this a lot. There were two things I heard a lot in college. From my marketing classes, they always said, figure out who your target audience is. In today's world, they say figure out who your avatar is, which is basically who you are speaking to, that exact person who you would say, I'm speaking to Cecil, he's 39 years old, he lives in Atlanta. Like, I'm speaking directly to him because when I talk to him, I am solving his problems and that type of stuff. So figure out your target audience, because when you speak to those people, you're able to build a community. They're able to relate and resonate with what you're saying, and they become fans, and they become people who then tell other people about what you're doing because they can relate to what you're saying and what you're doing. And second, most importantly, I heard a lot in college from people like Seth Godin and whatever, when I was reading books, saying in 10, 15 years, skills are going to be the number one thing we're relying on. because of technology skills. And I'd be like, what are you talking about skills? They say communication skills. I'm like, what do you mean by communication skills? But think about the world in today. Think about what I'm doing currently. I wasn't able to do this 15 years ago when I was in college, to just take a camera, get on. I mean, I had to get on TV. And in order for me to get on TV, you had to go live in Hollywood and all these things. But think about how many people today are using the skill set of just communications alone to make money, to make a living. I mean, yes, you have to perfect the skill, you have to sharpen the skill, but I always tell people one of the selfish reasons as to why I do these lives is to improve my communication skills. But at the same time, while I'm doing that, I have to give, I have to serve, because if I don't give information that is useful to you guys, and what reasons do you guys have to come on and support or listen to what I have to say? So it's kind of like a give and take. I mean, I'm hopefully improving my communication skills so I could use it to further build a media company and do bigger things. While at the same time, I'm trying to give value to help people better their lives, if you may. So, like I said, if you build a skill, and in the example I was giving my wife yesterday is, I've been with my wife, we've been married for 6 years, we've been together for probably almost 20 years. And I said, I've watched her want to become a doctor since undergrad, and it's taking her 15 years to get to that position. And when she gets to that position, the reward is great. The reward usually become a doctor, you serve people, but even the financial reward is great from when you're coming from, and if anybody knows about the process, coming from residency to actually being a board certified, or just being a doctor who's finished residency and that stuff. Like everything changes. Literally, it's almost like everything changes overnight for you. So, but in order for you to have that change, she had to spend 15 years of education and honing in on a specific skill. So what are the three things again fundamentally that she did? She built a skill, she put a lot of effort into it, and it happened over time. If you do these three things with anything that you want to do, so for anyone out there, if you figure out what these things are, and it's never too late, so don't tell yourself, well, I'm old, or I have a date. Just make some time. I mean, I know that people, I was listening to something, someone said you have like 128 or 168 hours a week, and you give 40 hours to your job or whatever, but you still have all this other time. I mean, I don't like using those analogies because people have all these other reasons or excuses by which they use their time for, or say, I can't do this. But ultimately, if you want to learn something, or if you want to change your life, your circumstance. So in this case, think of yourself as the customer. If you want to create something that changes your life, that solves a solution, that solves a problem in your life, what you're going to do is invest time and effort into a particular skill. Now, don't try to be all over the place and do many different things. For me, I've always liked trading and investing in stocks, and I've been doing it for probably 10 years. But most recently, over the last few years, I've been investing in myself, in the skill. And I'm taking courses, classes, watching videos, listening to podcasts, and enriching my mind. And I'm perfecting the skill. I'm getting better at what I'm doing because I've become single-minded about a specific skill set, and I'm putting in effort and time. So I think that's the easiest way to get rich. Now, it's not going to be quick. Now, you can accelerate how quick it is by how much time you put into this. I mean, now you have to forego a lot of your pleasures of life, the soft life, because I'm going to say getting rich quick, it doesn't, and then the soft life don't really go together. So ultimately, I hope you guys found this useful, because like I said, there is no get rich quick schemes. They do exist, but for those out there looking for a way to just make it legally, honestly, it doesn't really exist now. So just putting the time, learn a particular skill, putting the effort, and you will reap the rewards over time. I really hope you guys found this useful. I really hope this was um, both enjoyable, entertaining, and educational. And if you guys have any questions, please reach out to me. Let me know. I love the feedback. This is what helps me figure out what to talk about, what to do research about, and what to keep putting information about. So thank you guys very much. Thank you guys for all you guys who joined. I really appreciate it. Without further ado, you all have a beautiful evening. Thank you very much.